so here's our review for the test. Alright, so the subtraction property means we're going to subtract on both sides. So that'd be minus 5, 2x equals 5, right? Alright, division property, to get rid of a divided by 3, it's actually times 3. 6 times 3 is 18. That was really multiplication. Combining like terms, 2x plus 3x is 5x. That's combining like terms. Distributive property, 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. The negative's already right there, right? Symmetric, again, you can use your little sheet. That's when you just flip it around. AB equals YU, then YU equals AB. Just flip it around. Reflexive is when something equals itself. X equals X. Okay, so if Vx equals Xy, and that Xy equals YZ, then Vx equals YZ. And when you skip over that, that's the transitive property. Okay, x minus 1 equals 5, x equals 8, then 8 gets plugged into x. That's substitution property. Okay, when you distribute, 2 times x is 2x, 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, that is distributive property. If x is equal to y, then y equals to x. Again, when you just flip it around, that's the reflexive property. My bad. It is not the reflexive property. It is a symmetric property. Now, bottom, given the statement, state the conclusion. If 1 is congruent to 2, 2 is congruent to 3, then again, 1 is congruent to 3. Why? That is the transitive property. P is the midpoint of NM. So again, you think of N, M, P is in the middle, and then these two segments are congruent. NP is congruent to PM. LP bisects MLQ. Well, if I have MLQ and LP bisects it, then these two angles are congruent. So angle MLP is congruent to angle PLQ. Ham is vertical to eat. Ham, eat. This and this are congruent. Angle ham is congruent to angle eat. Okay. Now, let's solve this. Our first step is always going to be given. Always. First thing we do is get rid of those parentheses. So 11x plus 16 equals 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. That's the distributive property. Okay, then we got rid of the smaller x, minus 6x, minus 6x. So that's how we got 5x over here. Okay, and I just subtracted on both sides, so that's the subtraction property of equality. Okay, step 3, to get rid of that loner, plus 16, we need to subtract 16 on both sides, which we already have right here is a subtraction property. So we got 5x equals negative 4 minus 16 is negative 20. And then to get rid of this 5, we're going to divide. So x equals negative 4, which is what we were trying to prove. Very good. And I just divided on both sides. That's the division property of equality. You can just put division property. Down here, okay, my first step is always what's given. Given. Again, if you got parentheses, first step is going to be distribute. 12 times x is 12x. 12 times negative 2 is negative 24. And again, that's the distributive property. Then I have x on both sides. Let's get rid of that smaller x. Minus 2x, minus 2x. Negative 4 equals 12 minus 2 is 10x, minus 24. That was, again, subtraction property. Then x is on the right, so I'm going to get rid of that negative 24 with a plus 24 on both sides. So negative 4 plus 24 is 20, which equals 10x. And I just added on both sides, so that's the addition property of equality. To get rid of that 10, let's divide. And it's already written right here, division property. So 2 equals x. Remember, x needs to be on the left, so 2 equals x. X equals 2. When you just switch the order, that's the symmetric property of equality. Okay, next page. Now we're going to do 2 geometric proofs. You got to know how to do them. And they're kind of complicated, but at least we got some training wheels here. Okay, first step is always given. Just write that down. Now, if leg and 10 are vertical angles, that means they're congruent, right? So leg and 10 are congruent. Actually, let's back this up. Leg is congruent to 10. That's how you should write it. Now, remember, if you have congruent, that's shapes. We need to turn it into equals. And it can only be equals if we put these m's. Okay? So, that's the definition of congruent. If it's congruent shapes, then they have equal measurement with the m. Now, do we know measure of angle leg? Yep. Do you know the measure of angle 10? Yep. So we're going to replace it. That's called substitution. So 5x plus 3 equals 3x minus 17. And now we've got some algebra to do. Smaller x is 3x. Minus 3x, minus 3x. 2x plus 3 equals negative 17. That was subtraction property. Okay, and then get rid of that loner. Minus 3, minus 3. 2x equals negative 20. Again, that was subtraction property of equality. You can just write property. And then to get rid of that 2, we divide by 2. X equals negative 10. And we just divide it on both sides. That's the division property. Last one. POG and GOT are a linear pair. That's a given, of course. Right. Okay, POG and GOT are a linear pair. That means POG and GOT are supplementary. Definition of linear pair. If they're supplementary, then the measure of angle POG plus the measure of angle GOT equals 180. That's what supplementary means. So that's the definition of supplementary. Now, do I know angle POG, measure of angle POG? Yes. Do I know the measure of angle GOT? Yes. So I'm going to replace 3x plus 9 plus 6x equals 180. And that's just some substitution. Okay. Now, 3x and 6x I can combine to get 9x plus 9 equals 180. That's combining like terms. got some algebra to do. Get rid of the plus 9 with the minus 9. So 9x equals 171 because of subtraction property. And then to get rid of that 9, we divide. Alright, so what's 171 divided by 9? I think it might be 18. No? It might be 19. I think so. Division property. Now we're going to substitute it into measure of angle GOT. So the measure of angle GOT equals 6x, but x is 19, so that's substitution. And then last step, 6 and 19 are going to multiply, but just so you know, if you're multiplying only on one side, okay, that's called simplifying. This is not multiplication property. So you get 114, which is what we were trying to prove, right? So simplify is the last step. All right.